Welcome to a brand new series of Property Ladder, the programme that follows first-time developers as they try to make serious cash from buying and selling houses. Property developing can be a fantastic business. If you get it right, there's good money to be made. But it isn't easy, and if you get it wrong, the risks are real. Patrick and Vanessa Jeffrey got it very wrong, and they broke just about every rule in the book. In fact, theirs is a story of how not to start developing. Meet cigarette salesman Patrick and secretary Vanessa. They've remortgaged their own home to buy these 2 cottages in the Welsh mining town of Aberdare. They plan to knock them together into one big house and sell it immediately for a cool £15,500 profit. This is the first time either of them has taken on a project like this, but they hope it'll make them a fortune. So this is the house. You must be mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and excited.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What made you decide you wanted to develop property?
It's a good way of making money. And we do want to be wealthy.
Luckily for them, Aberdare is a good bet. While most of the country has seen house prices slow or drop, South Wales has risen by 30% in the last year. With a revamped town centre, good communications with Cardiff and Newport, and plenty of countryside on the doorstep, the right property in Aberdare can make you a lot of money. Patrick and Vanessa hope that knocking the 2 tiny cottages together into one 4-bedroomed house will make theirs the right property. But the cottages are on a very busy road, and they're in terrible condition. One was rented out. The other has been empty for 20 years and is virtually derelict. Despite having full-time jobs and no experience, Patrick and Vanessa plan to do most of the work themselves in order to stand a chance of bringing this in on budget. It will be a massive challenge. So how much did you buy the house for?
The 2 combined was 25.
And what are you planning on spending doing them up?
At the moment, 12 and a half, but it's very much finger in the air.
Yeah.
We haven't got a clue.
12 and a half to do it up. That does seem quite a low budget, really, to refurbish all of this property.
Yeah.
So what are you hoping to sell it for?
Well, we've had estimates through that we could get anywhere between 48 and 53.
Patrick and Vanessa bought the properties for £25,000, including all the fees. Their budget is only £12,500 to do all the work. But if they can sell for £53,000, this will give them a healthy profit of £15,500 for just 12 weeks of hard work. So this is the first cottage you bought then?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It's great, isn't it?
And this needs a little bit more work, perhaps, than the other cottage.
Yeah, but
Just a touch.
it gives us a blank canvas, doesn't it? It's got nothing here at all.
Knocking the 2 together means Patrick and Vanessa will be creating one new house from scratch for just £12,500, including fitting a new central heating system, 2 new bathrooms, a new kitchen, new windows throughout, complete rewiring of both properties, complete replastering and redecoration, and new stairs. At the moment, each of the tiny cottages is spread over 3 floors with just 1 room on each floor. Patrick and Vanessa intend to knock them together to create one larger house. On the top floor, they're planning to have a master bedroom with an ensuite bathroom, a dressing room, and a small second bedroom. On the first floor, there's the family bathroom and 2 more bedrooms. And on the ground floor, there's the 1 reception and a brand new kitchen diner. To keep costs down, Patrick's done all the plans for the layout himself. He's even designing the new staircase, which is critical for the entire project. He's never done anything like this before. He's got no training, and if he gets it wrong, it could cost him a fortune.
We're going to on our 5th design.
Yeah.
Design
on your
5.
5th design, yeah.
I've had nightmares. designing this place with stairs.
They're quite difficult to design, staircases, aren't they?
Oh yeah, but
You've done a
got
good
the
job, haven't
sense of satisfaction once you get it right. And I sort of like ran upstairs and went, Vanessa, look, stairs. She
At
went,
2 or 3 o'clock in the
Yeah.
morning.
The layout is crucial, and if you're making major changes, I always recommend employing an expert to make sure the designs are absolutely right. Because if you get it wrong, you could end up with a house that simply doesn't work. How extraordinary. So this is a bedroom in a bathroom.
So we've got a stud partition here and here. So this is the ensuite. We're going to go through that wall there so that we can use this area as a dressing area
What, for short people?
for
Yeah.
very short people.
saying that, if you stand here and you put rails along there, it's got a nice little
You have
dressing
to get
area.
your clothes on it there.
Yeah.
Considering it's not going to be a very big bedroom, would you not be better off having it just as a bedroom rather than a separate dressing room?
Once we go over the plans, I think you'll see that the way this pans out, because the dressing room goes into next door, it really adds that wow factor. It really adds a bit of oomph to the saleability and the marketability of the property.
Okay.
Trust me, Sarah.
Okay. But getting any sort of oomph will be a huge challenge on their tiny budget of just £12,500. They estimate that the building work will only cost £7,000. The doors and windows £3,000, £1,500 for the kitchen and 2 bathrooms, and just £1,000 for all the carpets and the interior decoration, giving a total of £12,500. Even with their £3,000 contingency, it's totally unrealistic for a job this size. How did you arrive at that figure? So why not 5,000 or 50,000?
What we've done, we've basically worked backwards from the sale market price that we believe we're going to get, minus what we've bought it for, gives us the budget in the middle, plus a bit of profit.
So it's got absolutely no relation as to how much the work's likely to cost.
Once we get every quote completed, we'll have a better idea from there.
This is just plain crazy. Patrick and Vanessa must set a realistic budget based on what things will cost. Otherwise, there's a real danger they won't make any money on this development. What is the market that you're aiming to appeal to?
We believe it's probably going to be first-time buyers or a sort of a young family with 1 or 2 children at a very maximum.
Although this may sound as though Patrick and Vanessa researched the properties, the truth is, when they bought them at auction, they knew nothing about them. In fact, they hadn't even seen them.
The first thing the auctioneer said to us was not, "Congratulations, let's sort out the paperwork." It was, "You fool, you're stupid, what have you done?"
Yeah.
And that was his first words to us, and our hearts sank.
I mean, how did you end up with both of them?
We sat there in the auction and we saw the derelict one, which we just went totally mad, and we said, right, we'll go for this, but we did the numpty thing of not viewing it.
So do you know this area? Had you been here before?
Only through my job.
So you'd been in and out of the town a bit, but
Yeah.
you didn't know it wasn't next to a sewage plant or something?
That's right.
Okay. This was a major mistake. It's crucial to properly research the property before you buy. If Patrick and Vanessa had, they'd have discovered that the cottages are on an unadopted road where a car dealer parks all his cars, and very close to 2 pubs with late licenses, making it much less attractive to their young family market. Buying at auction can be a great way to search out a bargain, but it's risky, so I wouldn't recommend it for your first development. If you do, then you must properly research what you're buying before you get there, so you don't get caught up in the moment and end up buying a house you can never make any money on.
At 28,530, 29,000 just in time.
When buying at auction, the golden rules are: set your limit and stick to it. Never get carried away and bid more than you can afford. Research the property before the auction, so you'll know what you're letting yourself in for.
I'll take a half now.
Get your loan organised. You'll normally have to pay 10% of the value that day and complete within 28 days. and get a full structural survey done before you risk any of your money.
£500.
Patrick and Vanessa spent £25,000 with no survey and no idea of what they were buying. Weeks later, when they finally have the survey done, they discover the property is worse than they could have imagined.
Urgent repair, that's what concerns me.
ASAP.
Is that going to fall down?
First-time property developers Patrick and Vanessa Jeffrey bought these two neighbouring cottages in Aberdare, South Wales, which they intend to knock together to create one fantastic 4-bedroomed family house. Despite both having full-time jobs, they've given themselves just 7 weeks to do all the work before selling it for a cool £13,000 profit.
Property development experience is zero. We're going to go for heavy, intensive, on-the-job training.
You all right?
We are risk takers and we're good at making decisions, and like with these properties, when we first saw them we thought, oh my god, what have we let ourselves in for?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day we've made that decision and we're now determined to make that decision right.
The biggest risk was buying the properties without even seeing them. They had no idea how much work they needed or how much it would cost. And with a ridiculously small budget of just £12,500, they have to watch every penny. Finally, weeks after buying them, Patrick and Vanessa have the properties surveyed and discover why they were so cheap in the first place.
Urgent repair, that's what concerns me.
Okay.
Timber treatment. The decay to timber lintels at the rear of number 17 and defective brick arches will, if not repaired, cause instability to the property.
Timber defects.
Is it going to fall down this week?
We'll get somebody in quick. That's going to cost a fortune.
The survey uncovers wood rot everywhere. They're only days into the development and their budget is already spinning out of control. Just having a specialist treat the dry rot, wet rot and woodworm is costing Patrick and Vanessa £1,500 they don't have. To claw back money, Patrick and Vanessa need to make some serious cutbacks. Despite her full-time job, Vanessa takes on project managing the development. And to save on professional fees, Patrick does all the technical drawings himself, including designing the brand new staircase, which I think's a mistake. I would always advise you to employ an expert if you're planning major structural changes, unless you really know what you're doing. The plans and the building work have to be approved by a building inspector. And the danger is, if he doesn't approve what you've done, then he can make you redo it, whatever the cost. But Patrick and Vanessa have the staircase made and fitted before they've even contacted the building inspector.
It's our responsibility, not any of the other professional tradesmen doing it.
Well, I think I assumed it was the builder's responsibility, yeah.
Well, I did know that it was ours, but I'd totally forgotten to...
So it's your fault?
Yeah.
Although Patrick and Vanessa can put a brave face on it, this is a major mistake. It was their responsibility to comply with building regulations, and by not doing so, they've jeopardised the whole development.
Hello, yeah. Could I speak to building regs, please?
When Patrick does finally call the building regulations department, he can only hope his inexperience doesn't cost them a fortune.
The thing is, we're changing the stairs. So, and I believe that we're going to have building regs for... Yeah, we're going to definitely change the stairs, so we will need building regs, yeah? Right, yeah. Now, the thing is, we've already started. Tomorrow? Fantastic. Thanks very much. That is brilliant. Bye now.
If the inspector doesn't like what they've done, it will have to be ripped out, costing them time and money. Next morning, Patrick is as optimistic as always.
It's just a matter of making sure that what we've got is going to be structurally sound, and if there is a fire, somebody can escape. So I don't foresee any problems. I'm sure it'll be fine.
But when the inspector arrives, he's barely through the front door before there's a problem with Patrick's plans.
You've drawn these plans yourself?
Patrick, the owner's drawn these.
Right, and this is what he wanted to...
This is the kitchen downstairs.
Yes.
And that's the dining room.
The new front door would be a fire hazard and the inspector wants it moved. They're lucky not to have started work on it yet, but inside things don't go so well. The brand new staircase Patrick designed breaks the safety regulations, and the inspector wants the entire thing moved.
I'm going to need the width of the stairs must comply fully. I'll show up this length.
You've had to take it out 10 inches. Yeah. Because that's got to come out there, that's.
So you would need to start, obviously, the staircase then at that point on in your neighbouring bedroom.
You'd have to take it over that way a bit more.
This is a massive problem and means the layout has to change through the whole house. If the inspector had seen the plans before work started, they could have been amended. But now it's too late. Correcting Patrick and Vanessa's mistakes means spending thousands of pounds they simply cannot afford.
Don't we need to know the price before we say yes, go ahead?
Well, we can't do anything else unless you want to just suddenly sell the property.
Is that an option?
No, we would lose money.
Although Patrick and Vanessa were desperate to save money, their inexperience has cost an extra £3,500. They've got to take out the staircase, move the landings, knock down partition walls, and there's nothing to show for all that work. But a week later, the stairs have been moved, and Vanessa and Patrick's belief in themselves has been restored. So it was this 10 inches that caused you all the problems? And had
Basically.
the knock-on effect all the way up here?
Yeah.
That's right.
Do you think in hindsight it might have been worth getting an architect on right at the beginning so none of these problems had happened?
That crossed our mind, didn't it?
I personally think no, but perhaps in the next time, I would like us to go to building regs before we actually start the work, which we obviously should have done beforehand.
I do admire Patrick and Vanessa's belief in themselves, and doing the work yourself can save thousands. But you must be realistic about what you take on. Patrick and Vanessa aren't, and each time they get it wrong, it eats into their profits. Vanessa saved £1,000 by project managing the development, but her inexperience means that the work has been done entirely in the wrong order and may end up costing even more. I noticed that you had the first fixed wiring done in this room before, and now it isn't done.
Again, problems we found after we started the work, which meant, unfortunately, ripping out all the rewiring. So,
Gutting
again,
Wiring.
after all of that work that you've done.
well, gutting for an electrician.
I commend your resilience with all of this, but you have done things too early, and that has cost you time and money.
Yes.
And sometimes a bit of thought at the beginning can save you a lot. To make matters worse, getting things wrong is beginning to cause problems with the builder. I'm worried that Vanessa's lack of experience is putting this development in real danger.
No, we've ripped all those electrical cables out now.
Have you?
You're going to have to put them all, get your chap to put them all back in.
They wanted this development finished in 5 weeks, but they're now 8 weeks in and they've lost control of the job and the money.
The problem has been, because I haven't been able to tell him what to do, Patrick and Vanessa, they're telling him what to do, and they don't know what the schedule is. So that's caused a lot of problems. There's still problems now, the electrician hasn't finished. And basically, it has put a tight squeeze on the budget.
Now, your budget initially was £12,500 with £3,000 contingency, wasn't it? So 15.5. Where have you got to now?
We're actually up to 22,000.
Well, that's nearly double your initial budget, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you quite worried by that?
Concerned?
Yeah, calmly concerned.
Because obviously you paid £25,000 for the house, so you're now on 22, which is 47.
Yeah.
And the initial quotations and comparables from estate agents were saying that the maximum this house would be worth would be 53.
Yeah.
So, you're creeping quite close to the top price that any agent said that you would be able to get for the house. How much would you like to get for the property?
In its present layout, the way that we're doing it, we're hoping to put it forward for 70, because there is nothing comparable without buying a new build.
So that's £15,000 above the valuation that you were given it would be worth
Yes.
when you bought the house.
Yeah.
Patrick and Vanessa are taking a huge risk. They should be checking out what's happening to property prices in the area, because if they're going up, it could just save them. And if they're going down, they'll know they're in real trouble and they have to get out now. But Patrick and Vanessa have no idea what the market's doing. If they had looked, they'd find that 5 minutes down the road, this 4-bedroom house has sold for just £54,000. It has a big garden and it's much larger than Patrick and Vanessa's house.
We do believe that the house is going to increase in value because of the work we've done, as opposed to market values, because market values are definitely starting to plateau.
Believing blindly that you can outperform the market just because you're in trouble is crazy strategy. Patrick and Vanessa have to make some serious cutbacks if they're to break even.
The stairs are gone.
But they're still happy to throw away money, like buying a new kitchen rather than reusing the perfectly good old one.
The absolutely crucial thing at this stage with the project is that you make sure that you don't spend 1p unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah.
These kitchen units are actually really good quality units.
The biggest challenge we've got with the kitchen is money. Because it's
That's the biggest challenge for
it is,
staff, isn't it?
Okay. But seriously, because it is a nice kitchen, if we wanted to add to it, we cannot find a pre-made style of kitchen, your standard sort of bulk standard kitchens, that will fit in exactly with this.
But do you need to add to it?
The plan is to sell this kitchen, and then this kitchen will partially pay for the brand new kitchen.
Although Patrick and Vanessa are selling the kitchen, they're spending £1,000 more that could be added to their profit. You should always evaluate what you've got before you rip it all out.
This would be a nice kitchen for someone.
It should be a nice kitchen for the people buying this house. They could easily add a freestanding dresser or cupboard in a matching style for much less than the new kitchen's costing. But even if it isn't as good as Patrick and Vanessa's, you can still save money recycling kitchens. Changing tired old worktops for contemporary new ones will instantly give any kitchen new life. Changing doors or handles will modernise the look at a fraction of the cost of buying new units. And replacing scratched taps and sinks will make the whole kitchen feel new. Although Patrick and Vanessa won't reconsider changing the kitchen, they do finally seem to be realising they have to save money somewhere.
And what are you doing with the bath?
We're going to be recycling it downstairs into the bathroom.
Oh, that's brilliant. So you're going to reuse the bath?
Yeah.
And the shower?
And the shower.
Not only is recycling really important to keep the costs down, but you're going to have to do a lot of work yourselves, really. Yeah. So have you actually been working here?
Yeah, well...
It's your hands. Haven't been working here.
Not for
ages.
If Patrick and Vanessa seriously want to make property developing their careers, they have to start being more realistic. They took on the specialist jobs of project manager and designing the layout to try to save money, and got them wrong. But they haven't done the simple labouring and preparation in the property that would have brought the costs down. In fact, they still don't seem to have any grasp of how to get this building finished and back on the market again. And with no one leading this job, the builders have stopped work. Little seems to have happened in weeks.
When do you reckon you'll finish all this?
Our plan is still 22 days' time.
22 days from now?
From now, yeah.
If I came back in 4 weeks' time,
you'll be
this
shocked.
would be finished.
You'll be shocked.
That's our plan, yeah.
And on the market, you wouldn't be here.
Yeah, there'll be a bottle of Jack Daniels on it.
Good luck.
Amateur property developers Patrick and Vanessa Jeffrey bought these 2 derelict cottages at auction without even seeing them.
We've had lots of people saying, isn't it risky?
Yeah.
You know, all of those type of things. But at the end of the day, we believe that if you don't take the chance, you're not going to find out.
Their plan is to knock them together into one 4-bedroom house. A month ago, they told me it would be finished today. It isn't. In fact, they're now 5 weeks behind schedule. Their budget has nearly doubled to £22,000, and at this rate, they'll be lucky to make 1 penny on this development.
So it's 4 weeks since I last came, and
looking
you're
good.
finished. That's good. What happened?
Over-optimism. Pure and simple.
It's not bad for week 10, really, is it? Is it?
In terms of man hours,
Yeah.
you're halfway through the
Right.
project. So, you are coming out the other side,
Yeah.
but you're not there. So you really need to give it a really good burst of energy to get there.
Yeah.
This house should have been finished and back on the market by now. But to save money, Patrick designed the layout himself and Vanessa took over project managing the development. The result is they've wasted time, thousands of pounds, and made mistake after mistake.
Next time round, would you consider getting one builder who would oversee all the contractors and form an umbrella over the site?
Possibly on the on the next project. We actually discussed that with Lawrence this week.
Was your builder not able to organise plumbers and electricians?
He was able to.
But why did you use separate plumbers and electricians?
It worked out much cheaper for us.
We're tight.
But all their attempts to save money have ended up costing them even more. Patrick and Vanessa are still paying out on the mortgage. There's still thousands of pounds overspent, but a week after my visit and the workmen aren't back. No one's running the job. And other than Patrick fiddling about, days go by with nothing happening on site. But there's worse to come.
I'm not a rep anymore. I was made redundant. It's taken my focus off quite a bit. We like to try and find something good out of everything. But sometimes when things do come up and slap you in the face, it does mean that we do have to sit down and think, just sort of reassure each other, are we doing the right thing?
They remortgaged their own home to finance the project, and with Patrick having lost his job, they now only have Vanessa's income to pay for everything. Not surprisingly, the stress is starting to show.
So is everything going to schedule or not? No. Okay.
If they don't get their money out, they risk losing everything, including their own home.
Don't go quiet on me. Vanessa goes quiet when she's concerned.
But if there's one thing about Patrick and Vanessa, it's that their incredible optimism somehow keeps them going.
One advantage is that now I can spend all day here, which in preparation we've done in the last sort of like few days, etc. We can really crack on, and it's going to start coming together a lot better now.
Finally, with Patrick project managing the job full time, work at the house has started again. And despite having no DIY experience, Patrick's getting stuck in.
Wallpaper and tiling 97. Right. We'll have a tile cutter. Tiles.
11 weeks into the project and it's finally moving forward again. But Patrick and Vanessa have still to take charge of the budget. They've overspent so badly, if they sold the property today, after 4 months of hard work, they'd have barely any profit to show for it.
See, I can do something.
Managing any development budget is difficult, and especially when you're inexperienced. But there are some simple rules that will make it much easier. The trick is to be realistic about what everything will cost before you start the job. To have a contingency for when things go wrong, because they always will. And to account for every penny as the project progresses, so you can cut back when you see you're overspending. Patrick and Vanessa did none of these things, and it's made the project very difficult to run. But they are finally beginning to think like property developers.
100% nylon.
100% nylon.
Which I personally hate.
What we've got to remember, that we're not going to be living in it.
I know.
The people will probably change it within a very short time.
Possibly.
So we don't need something that's going to last.
Yeah.
Okay? So if we can get something like that in at $3.99, every penny is going to count.
Developing on a small budget is more difficult, but certainly not impossible.
50% off. We like that.
Do your research. By searching around and choosing cheaper carpet, Patrick and Vanessa save £600 on flooring. Sourcing your own fittings and fixtures, rather than letting your builder do it, means that you'll get the discount instead of them.
Okay, 1763. There you go. Brill. Thank you.
Buy your kitchen and bathroom directly from the suppliers rather than the retailers. Patrick and Vanessa save £500 doing this. Although this budget will never be truly under control, Patrick and Vanessa are making big cuts, including saving £600 by fitting the kitchen themselves.
Spot on.
Everything is constantly being tweaked. So like we're not going to be skimping on the finish. We're still giving the vendor good value for money, but at the end of the day, we've got to look after our budget.
To stand a chance of getting the top price on any development, you have to make sure the finish is as good as possible. But Patrick and Vanessa also have to make this property feel bigger. 2 bedrooms are tiny, and even though it's empty, the only reception feels very small. But with careful dressing, all of these rooms could be made to appear bigger than they really are. So I brought Patrick and Vanessa to a very narrow maisonette over a shop where they've overcome the very same problems. I think there's elements of it which you could take away and use in your own house. For instance, here that they've got a butler sink and the wooden worktops, but it does look modern because of what they've done.
That's done.
And isn't it just like the one that we've got rid of?
I know that you're thinking about dressing the house now, aren't you? So you're going to put furniture in when you come to sell it.
Yeah.
So there's other ideas here that you can take away for that. One of the things, this is an incredibly small space, but actually it has a great sense of space in here.
Yes.
And a lot of that's because of the proportions, so that although there's a very small microwave and a small kettle and everything is in proportion here, you've got this massive clock and a massive fridge.
Yeah.
You feel like you're in this bigger space. The other thing they've used here is different flooring in the kitchen and the rest of the living area. And what a lot of people feel is to make it feel bigger, you've got to have the same flooring everywhere. And that actually doesn't work, I don't feel. I think if you define space by using different flooring, you get the sense of different rooms without actually having walls.
Yeah.
The kitchen Patrick and Vanessa have just chucked out could have looked this good with just a little bit of imagination. In this room, they've actually used little corners of space to put storage in. And when you've got quite a small property that you're trying to sell and the buyers come in, one of the first things they're going to worry about is how on earth do I actually live in this tiny space? Where do I put my things? So you need to do as much built-in storage as possible, but remember to leave gaps so that it doesn't feel like you've stuffed everything with a cupboard. In this room, it's very neutral tones. What you can do is have a splash of colour here and a splash of colour here, but other than that, keep it neutral.
Yeah.
And in here, you'll notice this very narrow doorway.
Ah, that's interesting.
And again, this is about proportions, because you've got this very narrow doorway, oversized print on the curtains, which actually, again, gives this illusion of space. There's these fitted cupboards, which are really useful. If there were no cupboards, you think, God, where do I put my wardrobe?
Yeah.
What you need to do is when you've got a smaller room, that makes it... So your 2 smaller rooms, look at those and think, well, this is going to be difficult for someone to imagine how they could fit a wardrobe and a bed and a chest of drawers in here.
Yeah.
So then you have to do it for them, maximise the space. You don't have to dress your development, but if you do have an awkward space, it does help, especially if you're worried people will think there isn't enough room for their furniture. Don't fill small and narrow rooms with small furniture. A few carefully selected pieces, large and small, are all you need to get away from the corridor effect. Built-in furniture with storage reassures buyers that they will be able to fit everything into the limited space. Mirrors in alcoves and shelves instantly make a room feel bigger. They can also widen the narrowest corridor. Don't shy away from prints and colour. They can work, but the key is to be neutral without being bland. It's now week 12 of what Patrick and Vanessa thought would be a 5-week job. And despite everything going wrong that could go wrong, the builders are finally getting near to completion. But it hasn't come cheap.
Put something here, we'll have to make something up there. I think it's going to be another 3 days here, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it's another 3 days snagging.
Okay.
I should have been somewhere else 6 weeks ago. You're looking at about £5,000 in extra costs.
Every aspect of this project is over schedule and overspent.
What are you thinking your budget is going to be now?
Slightly higher.
Yeah. Final views and with everything included, we're looking at around the 27,000 mark, which is
Thank you.
considerably higher.
So 27 plus the 25 that you
Yes.
bought it for
Taking
is
us to 52.
52.
Patrick and Vanessa are in trouble. When they started work here 3 months ago, the maximum value was only £54,000. After all that hard work, they stand to make just £1,000 each. With the prospect of earning so little, Patrick and Vanessa are determined to get this house finished as quickly as they can.
Someone who said they couldn't do DIY, you seem to be doing a pretty good job.
I'm getting there. This is my first attempt at wall tiling.
Well done, good for you. He's
scrap
very
it.
good, he's very good, excellent.
Right, if I move out of your way.
Hermetically sealing it. So how long is it until you're planning on finishing this?
A couple of hours.
No, we've got
No, seriously.
people viewing next Wednesday.
Yeah.
So
it's
that
days.
gives you 7 days,
Yep.
including the weekend to finish it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because the only thing I personally think that's quite optimistic, because I don't think 7 days is realistic to finish this project. I think that one of the things that people underestimate on a site is how much time those last little bits take. If you think, well, that'll only take half an hour because it's only a little thing here or there. But by the time you've found the tools and you've found the materials and you've got the right stuff and you've got to the place, actually that half-hour job ends up taking half a day.
But it isn't only small jobs Patrick and Vanessa still have to finish. With only 1 week to go, they finally start work on the front. They've known from day one that they needed to maximise the impact because it was the first thing anyone would see. It doesn't matter how beautiful it is inside if potential buyers are put off before they even get to the front door. But they've left it very late with the garden and are doing nothing to the road in front. I think this is a big mistake, and after so much hard work, they've risked it all.
I'm sure loads of people by now would have quit and said, right, never again. We're probably good examples of how not to do it, aren't we? You know?
Days later, and with only hours to go before the first viewing, and it's chaos. Will this house ever be finished? 3 months ago, Vanessa and Patrick Jeffrey bought 2 cottages at auction without having seen them. Their dream was to convert them into one house before selling it for a massive profit. But after dry rot, wet rot, woodworm, you name it, their budget has doubled. They intended to have them on the market 8 weeks ago, but finally they're finished and they're transformed. Against all the odds, the new house is a triumph. What was 2 empty, falling down cottages has become one fantastic family home. It's light, airy and modern, but still keeps its hint of history. Downstairs, Patrick and Vanessa haven't dressed the main living room, which I think is a mistake. Although the finish is beautiful, it still feels very small, and I'm worried this will put people off. There's only one thing with this house that I feel could be better, and that's that you haven't dressed the sitting room. Why is that?
I personally believe that we're giving someone a blank canvas so that they can exactly move in. They can see their own living area and living space and the furniture that they've already got in here.
You're asking them to take a great leap of faith to actually see it and envisage it. And I just wonder whether some people who can't envisage it might come round, look at the sitting room and think, gosh, it's a 4-bedroom house. can I fit enough chairs in here?
I think it was mainly budget, though, to be honest.
Yeah.
To keep it tight.
I agree that you should do everything you can to stick to the budget and spend as little as possible, but I'm not sure that this is the area that you should be thinking about saving money. The kitchen diner does look great. Although they should have stuck with what was there and saved money, Patrick and Vanessa have chosen a slick modern look. And by dressing it with table and chairs, it shows the room off perfectly. Moving the stairs cost Patrick and Vanessa a small fortune, but the new layout throughout the house does work very well. The first floor has changed beyond recognition. Patrick and Vanessa continued the simple colour scheme throughout, making it feel bigger. They spent the little money they had on dressing the smallest bedrooms. This is the right thing to do, because the smaller the room, the more difficult it is to imagine being used. There's also a well-fitted family bathroom, cleverly built around the original beams. And as with the rest of the property, the finish is brilliant. In my mind, though, it's the top floor that will sell this development. Patrick and Vanessa have created a fantastic master bedroom with its own ensuite. Well, this is another success, isn't it? This looks
Yeah.
great. And more brilliant tiling. You
Thank you.
genius.
He's brilliant.
And I've got to say, in this room, the glass blocks look great because you don't have the issue with privacy, which would
that's
obviously be a
right.
problem, especially at that height. isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
And it is in keeping with this style and design of house.
Inside, Patrick and Vanessa have really maximised the potential of this development. On their budget, it would have been hard to get better results. But I am worried about the garden. They've left it very late, and what they have done lacks the finish of the inside. I only hope this won't put off too many people.
And you are slightly working against various factors with this house, which you've known from the beginning anyway. You have to remember that when people come to look at your house, thinking about whether they want to buy it or not, they will probably have made up their mind before they get to the front door.
Patrick and Vanessa should re-turf this lawn immediately. It will only cost about £20, and when you think they're already £20,000 overspent, it's a ridiculous saving. But all the way through this project, the budget has been a nightmare. They started with a finger-in-the-wind budget of £12,500. £6,000 to carry out all the building work, though the final figure was triple that, costing them £18,000. They'd allowed £1,500 for the new kitchen and bathrooms, but by going direct to suppliers, they brought this down to a mere £1,250. Moving the staircase and treating all the rotten timbers cost £5,000 that wasn't in the budget at all. And overrunning by 8 weeks cost them an additional £750 in mortgage repayments, giving them a total spend of £27,000. If the valuations haven't gone up, Patrick and Vanessa will be lucky to break even.
I like the decor. It's certainly given the place a lift.
There's cottage style frontage.
Nice feature of the fireplace there. A nice access up the first stairs.
Lounge is a bit difficult with furniture in here, actually. It's got a very small lounge area. Could all be on each other's laps in the lounge.
I do like this kitchen. It's got quite a clinical look about it, really. I like the stainless steel effect on this electric oven.
Good choice of kitchen, because everybody's after those at the moment.
Nice kitchen, but I'm not quite sure if it's better than the one that was originally in this property. Nice use of space.
I can see that they have been extremely busy here. This is really something.
Just about getting into the bedroom.
Plenty of window space here.
I've tried to retain some of the character. I didn't think it would turn out as well as it has.
They've done a very good job here and made full use of what they had.
The location with the lack of ground, I think, may perhaps deter a family.
The importance of a rear garden in this area is paramount.
Following the market trends and conditions at the moment, I value this property around about £65,000.
Given the market the way it is at the moment and the job they've done here, I'd recommend £69,950 as an asking price.
In the current market, I would put a valuation of £70,000 on this property.
This is great news for Patrick and Vanessa, who desperately need this project to work. But almost all the £18,000 they've made has been due to the house prices rising in Aberdare. If they'd done nothing, the property would have gone up along with all the houses in the street. Their three valuations came in at 65, 69,950, and 70.
Well, it would have been nice to have made more. We did say we'd be happy in breaking even. Yeah. I think that still stands. But we are in it to make money.
So how much do you think you'd like to put it on the market for?
We would look at between, 73, 75?
Fine, put it on the market for more, because it is a lovely house. But if you don't get many people looking around and you don't get an offer, get the hint and drop the price. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what Patrick, Vanessa or the estate agents think it's worth, because it all boils down to what someone's prepared to pay for it.
Quite a nice room, isn't it?
Oh, I like this.
Very nice. Nice colours.
It's done out beautifully. It's a lovely house.
Master bedroom. Wow.
Oh, it's lovely.
This is probably the best property that I have seen so far.
The only thing is, I would prefer to have perhaps a larger living area.
The living room isn't large enough, and that there's no back garden. That is the vital point.
The size of the living room, I've found that quite small.
I think it's been done out so nice. It is enough to tempt you, isn't it?
Yeah.
And to perhaps considering putting an offer in.
Although they did make an offer at 60,000, it was way below what Patrick and Vanessa were hoping for. You're going to go ahead and do another project.
Yeah. We're not afraid of hard work, as you know. It hasn't put us off, and we've enjoyed it.
And also, we can take that information to make more money on the next property, because the whole thing about it is making money.
After 4 weeks with no interest, Patrick and Vanessa have had an amazing offer of £75,950 and are waiting to exchange. That would give them a fantastic profit of nearly £24,000. But I don't think even now Patrick and Vanessa realise how lucky they've been not to go bust on this project. Whilst I do admire the way they constantly set their targets high, it's crucial also to be realistic. They risked their home and all their savings without a clue of what they were buying. I just hope that luck stays with them on the next project.